Hello everyone, happy Thursday, welcome, thank you for joining us. Today we're doing part 2 of this beautiful decoupage cabinet, and today we're all about finessing the blend, getting it just right. So thank you for watching. If you're watching this later on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Everything we're using today, including the decoupage paper, are available on our website, thepaintedbrush.com.au. Yesterday we just did the front of the cabinet. Earlier today I quickly finished the blend on the two sides. So now we're just sort of finalizing, and we're just going to work on the front again. I want to show you how I paint over the image a little bit. I did have some black on my brush today, so I've already sort of started that, but I've left it because I want to show you guys. What else have I done? Oh, I've replaced the shelf inside. So this is just a piece of marine grade ply. Cut that out, popped it in. I just need to nail it down. So the shelf's done inside. We're just up to the outside. Nice and simple. So today we're going to be using our main brush again for like all of the outside blend. Then when it comes to our image, we're going to paint over the image just a little bit. The main thing I'm wanting to do is make it look like it's part of the piece, like it's always been there. So we're sort of bringing some of the colors that we're using onto our image, mainly because it's not a perfect match color wise. Actually, I had a really good question yesterday. How do I pick the colors? So for me, I just go, well, that's dark green. I've got a dark green. There we go. Bob's your uncle. Ankle works too. So we had lots of dark greens, so I've chosen dark greens as our main colors. I generally pick sort of the two most prominent colors within an image and start with that and then build from there. So we had green in the background and blue on her dress. They were the main colors. I brought in black just to sort of pair with her gloves and her scarf, bow tie, I don't know what it is. Oh, she's got a bow in her hair as well. So we sort of just pulled it together, and I really like this. I wanted this piece to look quite dark and moody as well. So we're also going to be coming in with just some little artist brushes. That one is royally, hang on, put that one in the bin, royally stuffed. But we're just going to come in with a few different artist brushes. I love these brushes. These ones are not marked. And then I've just grabbed myself a little handful of paints. You can use your chalk paints. You can use whatever you've got going on, and I probably will use this as well. But I just grabbed some really basic colors. So I have got a red. I grabbed a blue. Not sure if I'm going to use it. Grabbed it, thought if it's on hand, at least I don't have to get up 20,000 times. And then we've got the yellow pink, which is this really beautiful pink. And I did grab a brown. She's sitting on a chair, and I sort of just want to, it looks a little bit, what's it called? Digitally drawn, which it is. So I'm just wanting to sort of fuzz the edges a little bit as well of our image, just to make her look as old as what she's pretending to be. I think that's the best way I can put it. I've also grabbed a white. So I don't typically use much white or black when I'm doing my blending and when I'm doing the blending. When I'm doing the images, I tend to use a little bit more. But when I'm doing my blending, just because these are so strong, and you saw with the black how quickly it just sort of takes away all the green, takes away all those extra colors. So we're not going super heavy with the white and the black, but I've got it maybe just a little bit. I do want to sort of pop a little bit on her dress and on her sleeves, etc., just to help highlight them a little bit and make it look like it is an old painting and part of the piece. So it's actually a bit warmer in here than what it was yesterday, so I've got my spray bottle on hand, and then of course I've got my colors from yesterday. So we're using Pure Eco Chalk Finish for our main colors. We've got Bergamot and Rainforest. These are two greens. Bergamot's like a really rich green, and then Rainforest is almost like a blacky green. It's quite dark and intense, with like a very subtle amount of blue to it. It's really, really pretty. I do have some carbon still as well. Not sure I'm going to use a lot of that today. And then we've got Saturnine, which this is actually in silk finish, but we can blend the two together, not an issue. Chalk finish being chalk finish, it has to be sealed. You cannot leave chalk paint without a sealer because it's going to mark really easy. You can't really see it, but if I like really scratch this up, you're going to see the scratches. And if it gets like water droplets or anything like that, you're going to see them. Okay, let's start our painting. So I want to work sort of on the outside blend and then slowly work my way in with the picture. So this is a Posh paper, if you didn't catch yesterday's live. These are brand new, just launched. I think there's only 2 stockers so far, there might be more. But I've got 4 of the papers. These papers are designed based on what stockers have asked for. And they come in 2 sizes. This is the smaller size, and then it comes in quite a large one as well. I tell you the size, but I don't have a sheet with me, so I can't tell you the size. I think it was like 30 by 50 or something. So 2 great sizes. Just going to open up my jars of paint. I cannot tell you how many times, when I was blending the other bit as well, how many times I just wanted to sit down and keep working this today. So many times. I've sort of spent the day twiddling my thumbs a little bit, trying not to touch it. But I was waiting for everyone to leave so I don't get interrupted 20,000 times. Okay, so when I come in for this is effectively my second coat of paint. And this is why we lay down our base and then we finesse it from there. This won't necessarily be a full coat of paint. We're not necessarily, same word again, going to like cover every square inch of what we've already done. As you can see, chalk finish has a really, really good coverage, particularly these darker colours. The coverage is amazing. So we're just looking anywhere that I really, really love, I'm sort of going to leave alone. Anywhere that I'm not loving, we're going to paint over and keep working with it. And because it's all water-based, we're going to spray bottle to really help that paint move. The biggest thing I like to avoid is like really obvious brush strokes. I like to really buff them out a little bit so it's not super obvious that, oh yeah, a brush has done that. Even though we all know a brush has done that. So I've just added some water to my paint. These are little sample pots. They're just a little bit dry, so a little bit older. So just a bit of water. And because it's so hot in here as well, just to help that paint flow a little bit. And I don't mind that paint being a little bit wet. So I've got some Rainforest first. Now this bit here I'm really wanting to, and along here. So I'm just sort of going to really gently bring it down. And again, going all different directions. That's going to help with your, I just splattered myself with that. That's just going to help with the removing the brush strokes is what I'm trying to say. Let me bring you in a bit closer so you can see what I'm doing. You don't be looking at me anymore, I don't think. So this is just the Rainforest first. And I do like this sort of really dark green that I've achieved by doing a little bit of the black, but I just don't want too much. And like I can give this a really gentle sand as well, which is fine. I actually really like that. And these colours are going to become really quite bold when we seal this tomorrow as well. We might even do another live for that. I think we're going to use a wax maybe. Now this bottom bit, I don't want to so much blend the dress down, but I do like this blue. And what do I want to do? No, we'll do some green first. And then we're going to bring in some of this blue. And I actually want to bring in, I've just got some Montmartre white here. I'm just going to pop a little, going to attempt to pop just a little daub here on my table, and it's literally just a little tiny blob of paint there. Come back up. I'm just going to keep reusing the same brush, and I just want a really small amount of white. I just want a little bit, just so that like the image doesn't look as separate from the piece as well. And then that's also going to mix in with some of the green on my brush. And then I'm just going to bring it up a little bit. I don't want like heavy at the top, light at the bottom. I just want to make sure that it's got that bit of difference in there. I'm going to bring in a little bit of the bergamot, which is that greeny green. Just a little bit. It's a bit black down the bottom here for me. And I'm going to bring in just a little bit more of that blue and sort of mix it. Making sure like you get the insides of your legs as well. You want it to all look pretty similar. Don't be afraid to get your fingers in there either. Fingers are really good for like removing brush strokes a little bit too. And when we do the image, you'll see that I will use my fingers a lot on the image as well. Oops, sorry, I knocked the camera. I really like that. Now this bit here is a bit dark for me. We've got a bit of black there. It's sort of just looking a bit patchy, so I'm not adding any more to my brush right now. I'm just sort of going to do that. I've got the black down here, which I do like, but I think I just want to add a little tiny drops of my greens. And bring them up a bit too. And I'm just sort of fading out that black just a little bit so it's not as like in your face that it's there. Like so. I do like this bit down here on the legs. I'm just going to fade them in just a little bit more. I'll be honest, I was really happy with this blend before we even started today. There was really only a few bits where I felt like we needed a little bit more. Just going to bring some of that light up here, because why not? Just a little bit. And it's sort of just mixing with my brush. Gives a bit of interest, sort of highlights that detail in there as well. I love chalk paint as well because you can get really easy texture with it. I know it's sort of hard to see on the camera, but the texture you can achieve with the chalk paint is really fun. And it can look really old and just beautiful. Now for like the underside of the cupboard, just while I've got some green on my brush, underside of the top, not stressed about that because that was sanded straight off. I'm just sort of going to use what's on my brush just to paint along there a little bit. Alright, now I'm actually really, really happy with this blend. I feel like theirs not sitting 100% for me. And let's just do a bit of both. Nice green hair. It's like so. I think I am actually really, really happy with that outside blend. That's sitting pretty good. I want to bring in more of that blue. It's one of those things you can sit here for hours doing this, but you sort of just got to know that point where you want to walk away as well. I think I'm at that point where I just need to let that sit for a second. So let's come in with our, I'm just going to use a nice, do I want a small brush? No. Sometimes using a larger brush sort of stops you from being really, really finicky. The little brushes are great, but sometimes you just need to step back a little bit. I'm just going to grab a lid off the box, will do. I'm going to scoop that bit of white up and put it there in my box. Why not use an actual palette? Just because I want to sort of show you what we're doing. So I've got burnt sienna. I'm just going to put a little drop. I'm like a pea-size amount of each. We're not using a lot. It's really, really subtle. I think I am going to use just a tiny bit of the crimson. It's quite a strong red, but because her cheeks got like a really strong pink as well. So, and when I say a tiny bit, I mean like a little tiny smear. What else? I don't know if I think it's the wrong kind of blue, but let's just do like a little smear of the, what's this called? Cobalt blue. Little drop of that. You can always put more out if you need to. The yellow pink I definitely want to use. I think it will be quite nice on her skin. Oh, come on. Hang on. It's like sealed itself with a bit of paint. It's not coming out. Just a little bit. The yellow pink I really, really like. When we were doing paint for 6 sessions with the store, we used yellow pink a lot. Okay, so I think I'm also going to, just so I've got it on a palette, I'm just going to tip out a little bit of our Satinine. I've never been able to say it. Satinine. Just a little drop of that as well. Just to sort of make my life easy. Saturnine. I don't know. Whatever. Right, there's our paint. So we've got some white, we've got our brown, our red. I've still got some white on my brush here, so we're going to start with white since it's already on my brush. I'm actually just going to spritz my palette. It's on cardboard, so that's going to help it stop it from drying out. I've already got a little bit. I'm going to start here on her arms. And I'm just sort of going to, and at the moment it's just white. And we can come in and get a little bit stronger as we go. I actually want the smaller brush for this bit. And you can always go in as well and change colours as well if you need to. If you say you don't like the white on this, you could change it to pink or something if you really, really wanted to as well. You don't have to stick with what the image is. And this is like a lot, like you don't have to do this step at all. It is a lot of sort of mucking around, but it sort of takes your image from just looking like another image to looking like it is actually a painting. I should show you what I'm doing there. I'm just mixing a couple of my blues. And I'm sort of just following the creases of the sleeve a little bit. And I'm not like using a really firm hand either. I'm sort of like wobbling it around a little bit. coming in. So this is just the three sort of blues mixed together at the minute. And then a little bit more of that white as well. And having a little bit of water on your palette never hurts either. I just like to put like a little paddle there so you can dip your brush so your brush is nice and wet without being like soaking. Because it's a water-based paint, you can keep reactivating it as you go. See how my finger just sort of smudges that a little bit? And it's just giving me that little bit more dimension. See how her sleeve just stands out that little bit more now? Let me bring you in a bit closer. It's a bit hard when you throw away. Hang on. Let me drop you down. That's a little bit better. I'm going to do this sort of the same along the ruffles here on the front of her dress. And we're just sort of fuzzing those lines a little bit too so they're not quite as sharp. And that will sort of move it away from looking like a digital image and looking more like a custom painting. Just doing some down sort of the boning of the corset, just a little bit to sort of highlight that boning, and then sort of rubbing off some of the excess. Can you see how it just makes it that little bit bolder now, and you can really see it? Make sure you sort of continue all the way along as well. And it's just that tiny little bit. Giving that bit of definition to her braces. I'm actually going to bring in a tiny little drop of my pink with my white, and I'm going to really saturate that so it's like just white and pink. And then I'm going to bring that up here onto her, I don't know what you call them, the little bits of lace around her wrists and her arms. Little bit of pink, little bit of blue, and I'm using the same brush to do all of this as well. I'm not changing these brushes a lot. I'm sort of just using my fingers to smudge out some of that paint as well, so it's not like in your face there. And you can see how you can sort of spend all day doing this. But it does make a difference to that end product as well. And I typically like the flatter brushes for these two. I find I get a nicer finish with a flatter brush. I'm going to bring some of this satinine, this really pretty blue. I'm just going to sort of brush it down her dress a little bit just to add a bit more colour. As well. And we're going to come down here to the back of her dress. And you can sort of bring that down into onto that base as well if you wanted to. Bring a bit more of that white down through here. Feels like it's asking for it there. Let's pop it up through here. Now this sort of looks like a lace on the bottom of her dress as well. So I'm just sort of going to spot the white on, rather than like brushing it too heavily. Just sort of following the flow of the dress just a little bit. Like so. Then I'm just going to give my brush a little rinse because I don't want too much blue, more blue on there. But I'm going to come over with my white again, and we're going to do this other sleeve. So again, I'm just sort of going to follow the creases that are already there. It's almost like a paint by number, but you're not doing like a full paint job. The more I look at it, the book doesn't look right, does it? I'm looking at it and it's like the book, I'm trying to work out how I can fix it. Because her 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fingers, there should be a thumb here that's not there. I think we need some black. I think we need to put a thumb in. I don't know. I think it's just the way she's holding the book. Maybe it's on the page. I feel like we'll just bring in just a little bit of our black. Just a little bit. I'm actually going to change brushes because I put way too much on that. Just a little bit up here through her gloves. So there's one of her fingers. Maybe the finger's like on the other side of the page. But it just feels like there should be a finger here, maybe? There we go. And just a little bit of black through there as well anyway. Just for the shadows. Do you see how that just sort of lifted that lifted the glove a bit too, so it doesn't look quite as flat. I feel like her finger should be there. So I'm just sort of going to very lightly paint it in. You're not really going to notice it, but it just feels like her thumb is missing. I didn't notice that originally. Now I'm up close to it. There we go, that's better. Just a little bit, just so it's not as obvious that she's not there. And I'm going to grab a little bit of my green, just a tiny little bit. I'm going to pop it on this, on the spine of the book. And I feel like that should be book as well. I don't know, I'm not going to like fuss with it too much. I'm going to add a little bit of green to our book cover. And I'm going to help it give those shadows as well. Just a little bit. Alright. So the chair's here as well, and I actually want to do the darker green on the chair. I do a bit of both with a tiny bit of black in them too, because I don't want it like really green, and I don't want to change it too much. But we're just going to sort of fill in that chair just a little bit and add some more, I think, shadows. Not a lot, just so it looks like she's actually sitting there as well. Beautiful. Now I want to come up onto her cheek. I'm just going to wash some of that off. No, I'm not going to use that brush because it's got too much on it now. I'm going to change my brush. I'm going to come in with just a tiny bit of the pink and a little tiny bit of the red. And when I say tiny, I mean like minuscule amount here. Like tiny. I'm just going to sort of dot it on her cheek. And I'm going to grab a clean finger. Oh, no, not the wrong finger. I knew I would do that. That's all right. I can tidy that up. We'll let it dry and then we'll come back to it. I'm also going to do a little bit of pink with some white. Just to really pale it. I'm going to pop it. It's still a bit bright. I actually want to go and grab, this is blush in the Pure Eco Chalk Finish range. It's a very pale, almost skin-like colour. Just want a tiny little bit, that's better. With a drop of white on it as well, because the skin's really light. And I don't want it to be like too pinky. But I just want to... Now I've got a big chunk of paint stuck on my finger. Hang on. I don't like to mess with faces too much, but sometimes it's nice just to bring and again it depends on like what the actual painting is as well, but a bit of brush marks to the skin, and then we can sort of rub it out a little bit too where we need to. I'm actually really happy with her. Just a little bit here. And it's really, really subtle. Along her collarbone. And it's just a little bit. It's just to sort of highlight more than anything where the sun or where the light's sort of hitting her. And we're just following the image. Beautiful. Add a little bit down her nose. I do want to come in with not a green brush. Do I have another brush here? No, that's right. We'll use this one. I want to come in with just a tiny dot of the red. That's dried up. Like a tiny, tiny little. We got. On her lips, and we're literally just doing the smallest amount. I really need a smaller brush for her lips. They're a little bit small, but that's all right. Just a little bit, just to give her a little bit of la-di-da. All right, so that's looking really, really good. I'm really happy with it. We might just come in with a tiny bit of the brown with a little dot of black so it's not too bright. We're just going to come in along this chair a little bit because the chair's looking a little bit digital for me. And there's still a little bit of red on my brush too, which I'm quite liking with that. So there we go. So that's it for today. And then tomorrow we will seal it. We could probably seal it today, but I want to finish the sides, etc. as well. But yeah, that's it. If you've got any questions, let me know. If you've watched this on YouTube, thank you so much. Make sure that you subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. I really don't think there's much else to show you. There's really not. It's one of this process is one of those things where you don't have to do it. It does make a difference in the overall image. And it just adds that little something something to it sometimes. I'm going to, just with some of that brown that's on there, bring that up a little bit, I think. Just with what's on the brush. Just a little bit. Sometimes it's nice to bring the colours off the piece. You don't need to do a lot, but just a little bit sometimes. Using up that tiniest bit. There we go, all done. So I'm really happy with it. You can see it's just sort of highlighted her that little bit. I need to fix that bit there. We've got some black on there already. We can bring our green in a little bit more. I don't want to sort of do too much black or green on the image itself. But it just sort of blends it all together. There's like a little ever so slightly textured wall. Oh, it's got a bit of dark there, which we can highlight, and that comes all the way across. So we can absolutely highlight that just a little bit. Oh, not on her face ideally. A little bit of that green. See how she just doesn't look quite as fake now? She looks a little bit more like painting with a bit more detail, which is all that we were trying to achieve, really. Just a little bit of detail. There we go. Alright, I think that will do me. My neck's getting sore from doing this. Alright, so she's done. I'm going to finish sort of blending the sides of the cabinet. I don't think I'm really going to add anything else to her. We'll just sort of play it by ear and see. But thank you so much for joining me. This was Posh Papers with the design is called Elise. If you're looking for it, it's on our website now. It's actually on the homepage, so you can find it straight away. That's it. I think that's it. Have fun. Let me know if you have a go at doing this. Just something a bit fun. Oh, sorry. Something a bit fun, something a bit different. And, yeah, that'll do me. Thank you for joining me. Have a lovely day. And we will see you tomorrow after.